Welcome back to the channel, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. Rarest coins. Today we're diving into a coin with a fascinating history and a lot of collector interest. The 1964 AD Washington Quarter. You may have seen posts online claiming that this coin is worth up to $1.9 million. That's a jaw-dropping number. But what's the real story behind this quarter? In this video we're going to explore its history, its minting details, how collectors evaluate it, and what it's really worth based on real market data. The legacy of the Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Its classic design features Washington's portrait on the obverse and a soaring eagle on the reverse. This design became an American staple for decades and remains iconic in the coin world. By 1964, the Washington Quarter had been circulating for over 30 years. At this time, quarters were still made of 90% silver. That makes the 1964 AD quarter part of the last series of U.S. quarters to contain silver for general circulation. This composition gives the coin an intrinsic value above its face value, thanks to the silver content, and makes it historically significant. The D mint mark in production. The D on the 1964 quarter indicates that it was minted at the Denver Mint. In 1964, Denver produced a large number of quarters, over 114 million, making it less rare in terms of sheer numbers compared to coins with lower mintage. Philadelphia and San Francisco also struck quarters that year, but the Denver Mint mark helps collectors track and organize their collections. Even though millions of 1964 AD quarters were made, their significance lies not just in the numbers but in their silver content, condition, and collector demand. Coins from this era are popular for both their metal value and historical importance. Evaluating condition and value. A coin's value is largely determined by its condition. Circulated coins show wear on the high points of Washington's portrait and the eagle's feathers. These coins are generally worth slightly more than their melt value, which is based on the silver content. In early 2026, the silver content in a 1964 quarter is roughly equivalent to $4 to $5, depending on the current silver price. Uncirculated coins. Coins that were never used in circulation and retain their original luster are much more valuable. These coins can be graded by professional services, with grades ranging from MS60, MS63, MS65, and higher. A higher grade 1964 AD quarter can fetch hundreds or even a few $1,000s, depending on collector interest and demand. Where do the million-dollar claims come from? Now let's address the big question. Why do some sources claim that a 1964 AD quarter could be worth $1.9 million? These claims are almost always exaggerated or speculative. They often appear on clickbait videos or websites to attract attention. In reality, no verified auction or professional sale has documented a 1964 AD quarter selling for anywhere near that amount. Some of these claims are based on theoretical value, the idea that an extremely rare or perfect specimen could someday reach a seven-figure price. While it's fun to imagine, the market relies on realized auction prices, and currently, even the finest examples of the 1964 AD quarter are sold in the range of hundreds or a few $1,000s, depending on condition and certification. Rare varieties and error coins. There are also some rare varieties and error coins from 1964 that collectors look for. These include doubled dies, off-center strikes, and other unusual mint errors. These coins can fetch premiums over standard examples, sometimes reaching a few $1,000s, but even these are nowhere near the million-dollar mark. Collectors value these coins for their rarity, their story, and their condition. The most valuable pieces are those that are not only uncirculated but also certified by reputable grading service and verified as authentic errors or special varieties. Tips for collectors. If you think you have a 1964 AD quarter that might be valuable, first, inspect its condition carefully. Look for sharp detail on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, and overall luster. Second, consider professional grading. Services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade a coin, which helps establish a realistic value. Third, Consult auction results or price guides to see what similar coins have actually sold for. Remember, real value comes from real sales, not online claims. Final thoughts. The 1964 AD Washington quarter is a historically significant and highly collectible coin. Its silver content, beautiful design, and place in U.S. coinage history make it appealing to collectors. While it's exciting to hear stories of coins worth millions, the reality is grounded in collector demand, condition, and verified sales. Most 1964 AD quarters, even uncirculated ones, sell for hundreds or a few $1,000s at auction. Still, there's nothing wrong with hunting for these coins in your collection or checking old rolls. That's part of the thrill of coin collecting. Every coin has a story, and the 1964 AD Washington quarter is a classic piece of American history. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1964 AD quarter, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin history and value guides, and comment below with which coin you want us to explore next. Thanks for watching and happy collecting. I can also create a version with visual cues, timestamps, and narration prompts to make it ready for direct YouTube production. Do you want me to do that? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're diving into a coin that's been getting a lot of attention online lately. We're exploring the Washington quarter from 1971. You may have seen videos and posts claiming that this coin could be worth as much as $1.6 million. But what's the real story? Where did this coin come from? Why is it collectible? And what does it actually sell for in the real world? In this video we'll go deep into its history, what collectors look for, and how to evaluate one if you find it in your change drawer. A classic part of American coinage, the Washington quarter has one of the longest continuous histories in modern U.S. coinage. First issued in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this design quickly became a favorite. The obverse of the coin features a dignified portrait of George Washington, and the reverse shows a bold American eagle. For decades this design circulated widely across the United States, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in daily use. By 1971 the Washington quarter was an everyday coin that almost everyone had seen and used. It wasn't made of silver anymore like earlier quarters before 1965. Starting in the mid-1960s the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition for quarters because silver had become too expensive to use in regular circulation coins. That means the 1971 quarter you find today has a core of pure copper with outer layers of copper and nickel, giving it that familiar silvery appearance without precious metal. Understanding the mint mark and production. The 1971 Washington quarter was produced at two mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark on the reverse, just above the eagle's tail feathers, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark at all. Both varieties were struck in the millions, and because so many were made, most examples are considered common. These coins entered everyday circulation just like any other change, which means you might have used one without even thinking about it. Millions of these coins filled cash registers, coin rolls, and pockets across the country. Because of their high production numbers, most 1971 quarters people find today are not rare by themselves. That doesn't mean they have no value, but it does mean that the base coin by itself is common compared to some older or rarer dates. Coin value and condition. When it comes to determining how much a coin is worth, the single most important factor is condition. Coins are graded on a scale that ranges from heavily worn to near perfect. A quarter that has been used in circulation for decades will show signs of wear, like a flat or smooth appearance, weaker detail on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and surface marks. These coins are usually worth only face value or slightly above to collectors completing date and mint mark sets. But some coins never saw circulation. These uncirculated examples were saved by collectors or found in rolls that were never opened. These can have crisp detail, full luster and very little wear. When a coin is in truly exceptional condition it can be graded by a professional service, and the higher the grade, the more collectible and valuable it becomes. Uncirculated 1971 quarters graded at the top end can bring prices above what common circulated examples sell for. Collectors often talk about grades using terms like MS60, MS63, MS65, and higher. The numbers indicate how close a coin is to perfect condition, with higher numbers meaning the coin shows fewer imperfections. Coins in the extremely high grades are less common simply because most coins get handled and worn over time. These well-preserved pieces can attract collector interest at auctions and through dealers. So where did the $1.6 million claims come from? Now let's address the big question. There are videos and headlines online claiming that a 1971 Washington quarter is worth up to $1.6 million. That sounds incredible, and it's the kind of story that gets a lot of attention. But here's the truth. Claims like this are almost always exaggerated or based on misunderstanding. In the real world, the highest values for 1971 quarters come from coins in exceptional condition that have been professionally graded and certified. Even then, prices for top-graded 1971 quarters are typically in the hundreds to low thousands of dollars range when they sell at reputable auctions or through trusted dealers. There is no widely documented sale in major numismatic records of a standard 1971 quarter reaching $1.6 million. Many videos and posts that make these huge claims tend to take the idea of rarity out of context, or they talk about theoretical value rather than actual verified sales. They might mention a coin graded extremely high or make assumptions based on how rare one perfect specimen could theoretically be. But real market value is based on real transactions where buyers and sellers agreed on a price. If someone lists a coin with a six-figure estimate hoping someone will offer $1 million, that's speculation. It's exciting to imagine, but unless a documented auction shows a sale at that level, it doesn't reflect real, established value. Are there rare varieties or errors that could be more valuable? Another aspect people sometimes confuse is the existence of error coins or rare varieties. These are coins where something unusual happened during the minting process. Examples might include doubled dies, off-center strikes, or missing features. Error coins can be interesting to collectors and sometimes sell for significantly more than regular examples. However, even valuable error coins from common dates like 1971 typically sell for premiums well below 7 figures. The more unusual or dramatic the error, the more a collector might be willing to pay. But very few errors reach extreme values unless they are historically unique or one of a kind. Even then, the documented sales for error Washington quarters from this year don't show real-world prices approaching the $1 million range. What should you do if you think you have a valuable 1971 quarter? If you have a 1971 quarter and think it might be valuable, the first step is to examine its condition carefully. Compare two images of coins in varying grades. If it appears crisp with sharp detail and strong luster, that's a good sign. For coins that you believe are high quality, consider having it evaluated by a professional grading service. Trusted organizations will carefully examine the coin and assign it an official grade. This helps buyers and sellers understand exactly what they're dealing with, and the high grade can increase interest from serious collectors. Once your coin is graded, you can research similar coins that have sold at auction to get a realistic idea of market value. Remember, auctions and documented sales are the strongest evidence of what coins are worth. Final thoughts: the 1971 Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American coinage history. It represents the everyday currency that passed through millions of hands, and in high condition it can be collectible and desirable to numismatists. While it's exciting to hear stories about coins worth enormous amounts, real value is established by real transactions, official grading, and what collectors are truly willing to pay. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1971 quarter and want to learn more about other coins and their real market values, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us which coin you want us to explore next. Thanks for watching and happy collecting. If you'd like a version with timestamps, visual cues, or narration pacing notes, I can write that too. Welcome back to the channel, coin fans, collectors, and treasure hunters. Rarest coins. Today we're taking an in-depth look at one of the most talked about coins online, the 1969D Washington quarter. You may have seen videos or posts claiming that this coin is worth as much as $1.7 million. In this video we're going to break down the real history of the coin, what makes it collectible, and what its true value is based on real market data. If you've ever found an old quarter in your pocket change and wondered whether it's worth a fortune, you'll want to stick around for this one. The origins of the Washington quarter. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage for nearly a century. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design quickly became a favorite of the public. The obverse features a dignified portrait of George Washington facing left, and the reverse carries a bold American eagle with outstretched wings. For decades this design dominated the quarter-dollar series before later design programs like the state quarters began. By 1969 the Washington quarter was well established as everyday currency. Most of these coins were made for circulation and were widely used in everyday transactions. But unlike earlier coins struck before 1965, the 1969D quarter is not made of silver. Following rising silver prices in the 1960s, the U.S. Mint transitioned to a copper-nickel clad composition beginning in 1965. This means the quarter has an outer layer of copper and nickel bonded to a pure copper core, giving it that familiar silver-colored look without the precious metal inside. What the D Mint mark means. The letter D on a 1969D quarter tells us that it was struck at the Denver Mint. In 1969 the U.S. Mint operated multiple facilities, and each applied its own mark to coins so collectors could identify where a particular coin was made. The Denver Mint produced millions of quarters that year, and most of them entered circulation just like any other coin you might have found in your change. Because so many 1969D quarters were produced, they are considered common in terms of mintage. That doesn't mean they aren't collectible at all, but it does mean that most examples you find are not rare by themselves. Condition and coin grading. When it comes to coin collecting, one of the most important factors in determining value is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from heavily worn to nearly perfect. Most 1969D quarters that were used in circulation show signs of wear from everyday use. In those cases, the coin's value will generally stay close to its face value or perhaps slightly above it for collectors who are completing date and mint mark sets. However, some coins have escaped circulation and survived in excellent condition. These may show original luster, sharp details, and minimal signs of handling. Coins in this category are referred to as uncirculated or mint state coins. Collectors and professional grading services will assign these coins grades such as MS60, MS63, MS65, and higher. The higher the grade, the closer the coin is to perfect, and the more it can be worth. For 1969D quarters, high-grade uncirculated examples can attract serious interest from collectors because finding coins that were never worn and still look almost new is uncommon. Coins graded very high by reputable services like PCGS or NGC will typically bring premiums over ordinary circulated pieces. Real value versus online claims. Now let's talk about the big question you're really here for. Is the 1969D Washington quarter worth $1.7 million? There are a lot of videos, articles, and social posts claiming that this coin could be worth staggering sums. These sensational headlines get attention, but they are rarely based on actual verified auction results. The truth is that most 1969D Washington quarters, even in high grades, sell for values that are quite a bit lower than multi-million-dollar figures. Yes, coins in exceptional mint state grades can sell for hundreds or even a few $1,000s when they appear at auction or through reputable dealers. Coins that have been professionally graded and certified in the highest grades can bring premiums because there are fewer coins that survive in near-perfect condition. But as of now, There is no widely documented sale of a standard 1969D quarter that has reached anywhere near $1.7 million in the mainstream numismatic marketplace. True record-setting coin sales that reach very high values are usually well cataloged and come from known rarities, historically significant coins, or one-of-a-kind pieces. A common date quarter from 1969, even in superb condition, does not yet fit that description based on known market data. Sensational claims about multi-million-dollar values often stem from speculation, misunderstanding, or the desire to attract views. They may reference a theoretical value or an extreme outlier that has not been sold publicly. The safe way to understand real value is to look at documented sales and certified grading results. Are there rare varieties or errors? Another question many collectors ask is whether there are rare varieties or error coins from 1969 that could be worth significantly more. The answer is yes. Some coins with striking errors or unusual varieties can be collectible. These include coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or other mint mistakes. Error coins can be interesting to collectors and sometimes sell for more than typical examples. However, even most error coins from this year do not reach figures anywhere close to the seven-figure range. Values for valuable error coins are largely driven by how unusual the error is, how many examples are known to exist, and how desirable they are to collectors. A popular error coin might sell for hundreds or low thousands of dollars, but again, not millions in the typical market. What to do if you think you have a valuable 1969D quarter? If you have a 1969D quarter and believe it might be valuable, here are a few practical steps. First, look at its condition closely. Compare your coin to known images of coins in various grades. If it looks crisp, with sharp details and luster, that's a great start. Second, consider having it professionally graded. Reputable grading services examine coins and give them a grade that helps buyers and sellers understand condition and value. A high grade from a trusted third party can significantly increase interest from collectors. Third, look at real auction results and price guides to see what similar coins have actually sold for. This will give you a more realistic understanding of market value. Remember, excitement around a coin is great, but real values come from documented sales and real collector interest. Final thoughts. The 1969D Washington quarter is a fascinating piece of American coinage with a rich history. It's fun to hunt for old coins, check dates and mint marks, and see what you've got. Some coins can indeed be valuable, especially in high uncirculated condition or as part of an error series. Just keep in mind that while stories about coins worth $1.7 million make for eye-catching titles, the real market values are based on collector demand, condition, rarity, and certified sales. Not clickbait. If you enjoy learning about coins and want to uncover real value in your collection, you're in the right place. If you like this video and want more deep dives into coin history and true values, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below with which coin you want us to explore next. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting. If you want a version with timestamps, visuals, and script cues for editing, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel, coin hunters and history fans. Rarest coins. Today we're taking a deep look at the 1980 Washington quarter dollar, a coin many of us have seen 1,000 times without thinking much about it. Lately you might have seen videos or posts claiming that a 1980 Washington quarter could be worth up to $1.5 macron million. In this video we'll break down the real history of the coin, what it's worth in the real collector market, and how to tell if your coin has any value beyond face value. If you're curious about rare coins, authentic values, and how numismatics works, stay tuned because this is an eye-opening story. Historical background. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It quickly became one of the most familiar coins in American pocket change. The design features a dignified portrait of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse, a classical look that stuck around for decades and became deeply loved by the public. By 1980, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for almost half a century. But this wasn't the silver quarter people used to save in piggy banks. Modern quarters like the 1980 issue are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which replaced silver in 1965 when the price of silver soared too high for everyday coins. Instead of precious metals, the 1980 quarter has a core of copper with copper-nickel layers bonded on both sides to give it that familiar silvery finish. That means its intrinsic metal value is low and collectors look at condition and rarity rather than silver content to determine value. IDRSS $1 coin trackers +1 mint marks and production. In 1980, the United States Mint produced Washington quarters at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each one tells a slightly different story. The Philadelphia Mint produced the most, over 635 million coins, and this year was notable because it was the first time Philadelphia quarters had a P Mint mark on them, marking a shift in how these coins were identified. IDRSS $1/2 Washington quarters. The Denver Mint also struck a huge number of coins, over 518 million quarters, with the D Mint mark, making these common as everyday change. IDRSS $1/2 Coin trackers. The San Francisco Mint produced fewer coins in 1980. But they were proof coins, especially struck for collectors with a mirror-like finish rather than released into circulation. Around 3.5 million proof quarters were made that year. IDRSS $1/2 Coin trackers +1. With more than 1.1 billion quarters combined across all mints, the vast majority of those coins are still out there in circulation or in collections today. IDRSS $1/2 Yeezy in the box. Understanding coin value. Let's get into value because that's the number everyone wants to hear. Most 1980 Washington quarters you find in your pocket change are worth only their face value, 25 cents. That's because huge numbers were made and most have wear from everyday use. IDRSS $1/2 US Coins Guide. If you happen to find an uncirculated coin, one that shows no wear, sharp detail, and original luster, it can be worth more than face value. Collectors use a grading system that ranges from very worn to mint state. A coin that turns a high grade from a professional grading service can bring several dollars to perhaps $10 or $15, and in rare cases much higher. IDRSS $1/2 Washington quarters +1. For the Denver minted 1980 quarter, which is one of the most common varieties, the highest reliably documented sale at public auction was around $1,380 for an MS-67 example graded by a professional service. IDRSS $1/2 That's an impressive price compared to face value, but it's a far cry from figures like $1.5 Macran million that make headlines on viral videos. Coin no. On rare occasions, highly graded Philadelphia examples and certain lower population coins have sold above typical values as well, but even the best known auction results stay in the hundreds or low thousands of dollars range. IDRSS $1/2 Coin trackers +1. Proof coins from San Francisco are collector pieces with beautiful finishes, and they can be worth several dollars to perhaps a few dozen depending on condition, but again they do not fetch massive prices in the mainstream market. IDRSS $1/2 Coin trackers +1. What about million-dollar claims? So where do claims about the 1980 quarter being worth $1.5 Macran million come from? Most of these stories are misleading or speculative, often based on clickbait or confusion between theoretical value and real auction results. Some online listings might show a seller asking for huge amounts, but asking a price and selling a coin are two very different things. A coin becomes truly valuable when it has a verified sale record as auction or through a reputable dealer backed by professional grading. No widely documented sale of a standard 1980 Washington quarter anywhere near $1.5 Macron million exists in recognized numismatic archives. Sometimes rare era coins, coins where something unusual happened during production, do bring higher prices. But even dramatic errors in this year tend to sell in the hundreds to low thousands of dollars, not millions. It would take an entirely unique, historically significant discovery, something totally unia of a kind to justify seven-figure prices. IDRSS inverted question mark 1/2. Coin identifier. How to evaluate your coin. If you think you might have a valuable 1980 Washington quarter, start by examining its condition. Look for details like sharp features, original luster, and lack of wear. Use a magnifier to check for mint errors, doubling, off-center strikes, or other unusual features. Next, consider having your coin professionally graded. A trusted grading service will assign a condition grade that helps buyers and sellers agree on value. High grades like MS67 and above are where the premiums really show up, and these occasional exceptional coins are what get attention from collectors and auction houses. Most coins are ordinary, and ordinary coins remain worth ordinary prices, but occasionally one stands out, and that's the thrill of coin collecting. Final thoughts. The 1980 Washington quarter is a ubiquitous piece of American currency history. Most examples are worth face value, but uncirculated coins in high grade can bring interesting premiums. While stories about millions of dollars might grab your attention, the real market values are grounded in documented auction results and professional grading. Explore, enjoy the hunt, and check every coin with curiosity. You never know what interesting story could be hidden in your pocket change. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1980 Washington quarter, hit that like button, subscribe for more coin history and value guides, and leave a comment telling us what coin you want us to explore next. Thanks for watching and happy collecting. If you want a script with timestamps, visuals, or narration prompts tailored for editing, I can provide that too.